Continues as our next cold front continues moving its way through the region when we dry out in your Weather Authority forecast.
The state of Indiana has carried out its first state execution in 15 years. A local bus driver lost consciousness while driving students to school this morning. Some children are hurt. And the local man who triggered an Amber Alert for a missing child goes before a judge. Local 12 News live at noon starts now.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Local 12 News.
And with that, we say good afternoon to you. I'm Liz Bonis. Thank you for joining us here on Local 12 News live at noon. Yesterday, it was warm and sunny. Today, meteorologist Eric Dubroca telling us it's kind of rainy and dreary. He's here with your first look at No Wait weather. Hi, Eric.
Well, the last several days, really, our sky has looked a whole lot like this. More soaking rains across the tri-state earlier this morning, and it just continues piling up. Another ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch from this morning alone. This, I made all the way since last Sunday morning. We're talking a solid 2 to even upwards of 3 inches of rainfall across the entire tri-state at that time the last 3 to 4 days. So that really is the entire month of December for some areas, and we continue, obviously, as a very soggy pattern continues. Our cold front also will be moving through the region the rest of our Wednesday afternoon, so we are finally going to see some drier conditions, but not completely done with the rain yet. Still in store for another gloomy one, as we saw the morning rain obviously getting out of here, and now we're starting to see just some lighter showers, eventually those overcast cloudy skies, but a very seasonally chilly day in those low to mid 40s. When we dry out, and unfortunately I'm tracking another round of Arctic temperatures. Details coming up.
Thank you very much, Eric. Starting today on a somber note, we are asking you if you'd like to scan this QR code and weigh in with your opinion on the death penalty. We're asking you whether you support it or not because Indiana has carried out its first state execution in 15 years. Joseph Corcoran went to prison in 1997 for the murders of 4 people, including his brother and his sister's fiancé. The Department of Corrections says the Fort Wayne man was pronounced dead by lethal injection just after midnight. His lawyers had argued that putting him to death would violate the Constitution because he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. His final words were, "Let's get this over with." If you didn't get to scan the QR code, you can also vote in today's poll inside the Indiana execution story at local12.com. We will check numbers again during Local 12 News first at 4. Other news today, a bus driver suffers a cardiac arrest while driving students to school. The bus crashed into several trees in the backyard of a residence on Sherwood Court in Burlington. The bus was transported to the hospital, or the bus driver was transported to the hospital. No update on the driver's condition. 3 students were also taken to the hospital for minor injuries. When we have more information on this, we will continue to bring it through to you on this newscast and on local12.com. A local man was in court today. 28-year-old Jeremy Judkins is now accused of telling the mother he threw the child in the river. He is ordered now not to have the mother and child, or not to be with them. The Judkins is also charged with making false alarms, domestic violence, strangulation, and theft for allegedly hurting the mother. His bond was set at $37,000. Police are still looking for a motive after a 15-year-old girl carried out a shooting at a Wisconsin Christian school. A teacher and a student were killed. Several others were hurt in that attack. Madison police responded to the scene just 3 minutes after getting the 911 call from a second-grade teacher. Once inside, police say they found the body of a suspected shooter. She died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police recovered a 9mm handgun.
I was really scared and I was really sad.
Seeing 10, 12, 15 ambulances really scared me, thinking that one of my children might be the one.
Police say they are working to determine if a document circulating was written by the shooter. They're also examining other material taken from her home. The man accused of killing United Healthcare CEO now charged with murder as an act of terrorism. A grand jury in New York indicted 26-year-old Luigi Mangione in the killing of Brian Thompson in Manhattan earlier this month. He faces 1 count of first-degree murder, 2 counts of second-degree murder, along with weapons and fraud charges. Investigators say they believe Mangione was driven by anger against the health industry and corporate greed, and that he planned the attack well ahead of time.
This was a frightening, well-planned, targeted murder that was intended to cause shock and attention and intimidation.
Mangione is due in court in Pennsylvania tomorrow for a preliminary hearing on weapons charges. Then he will attend an extradition hearing. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg says Mangione may waive his right to fight, being handed over to New York authorities. Well, today the Supreme Court announced it will hear arguments next month on the TikTok ban in the U.S. The justices will hear arguments on January 10th about whether the law impermissibly violates freedom of speech. The popular social media platform has more than 170 million users in the U.S. Supporters of the ban are concerned that the Chinese government may access users' information. It's unclear just how quickly the High Court might issue a decision. In more local news, a Tri-State movie theater's grand reopening set today. Pierce Point Cinema will open with showings of Mufasa, The Lion King, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 tomorrow, December 19th. They will continue on Friday, December 20th with those movies, as well as Wicked and Mona 2. And the Lytle Park Hotel brings the holiday magic this season. You can enjoy a beautiful view of Cincinnati while enjoying specialty food and drinks. Hotel hosting a New Year's Eve party on its rooftop, along with a 5-course meal. You can also enjoy dinner in one of the rooftop igloos.
They're a nice enclosed hardwood plexiglass igloo that you can rent out any night that Vista is open, and bring in a girls group or a family gathering that might be in town for the holidays, and just enjoy the outdoor experience in the middle of winter.
To reserve an igloo, go to local12.com. Igloo, I can say that. To go to local12.com, click on the link section and search Lytle Park Hotel. Well, the countdown is on now for the Battle of Ohio. The Bengals will take on the Browns at Paycor Stadium Sunday. They'll be facing Cleveland's 3rd starting quarterback of the season, as Dorian Thompson-Robinson will reportedly start for the Browns. You can watch that game right here on Local 12. Kickoff set for Sunday at 1. And the Bengals game with the Broncos has a new date and time. It's been moved to Saturday, December 28th at 4:30. The Bengals need the Broncos and the Chargers to lose their last 3 games to make the playoffs. So this could be a pivotal matchup. If the Bengals get a win this weekend and also win the rest of the season, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance at postseason play. All right, just ahead. She's having a baby. What to know about recent changes to hospital delivery sites. We're going to share what healthcare providers say women should know as local hospitals change place. And we remind you that on the go, you can still watch Local 12 News. Just scan this QR code. Sets you up for viewing through local12.com, our free app, as well as the News On app. Don't ever leave home without Local 12.
Is sponsored by TriHealth.
And Health Talk Live today, if you're planning a baby delivery sometime soon, some changes are happening in our community. Joining us now with what women should know to get the best pregnancy care they need is Dr. Kristen Coppage. She's the Associate Medical Director or Medical Officer for the TriHealth Good Samaritan region. Good afternoon to you. I know there's a lot of changes, so if you can share with me a little bit about what's happening in our community and how Good Sam is playing a part in that.
Yes, thanks for having me. So effective tomorrow at midnight, Mercy Health will be closing their labor and delivery unit. And so obviously that displaces a lot of pregnant patients and their family who are hoping to deliver at that hospital.
So then they gave them options of delivering, I know, at Mercy Health in Anderson, but also women may not be aware there's some other options in our community. Can you talk to me about that?
Yes. Obviously, lots of systems here in the community. I'm here representing TriHealth. and the great care that we provide women and pregnant patients in our community. We are actually happy to announce that 6 of the providers that were delivering at Mercy West have sought out privileges here at Good Samaritan Hospital and will be available to do deliveries here starting tomorrow.
So talk to me a little bit about their care then. They can still receive their care where they are from their provider, and when delivery time comes, what happens?
Yes. So delivery is just one episode of care. Providers, as far as we're aware, are not leaving their current communities. So patients can continue to see their providers and receive the care that they need to have a healthy pregnancy with the best outcome possible. If they would like to then do their delivery at a Tri-Health hospital such as Good Samaritan, they need to make sure that their provider has privileges there. And if so, their provider will help them get registered and give them all the information necessary to make that transition as seamless as possible. If someone does not have a provider that wants to deliver at Tri-Health or Good Samaritan, then they can reach out to our nurse navigator, who would be happy to help them set up care with a provider that does so.
So this is, a little unsettling. You already have a lot going on if you're having a baby. What are some of the questions you should ask perhaps maybe your provider if you're kind of in this transition?
Of course. So you want to interview the provider to make sure that you feel like you can have a trusting relationship with them. You want to understand what options they can offer you, whether they have a big group that does deliveries, a small group that does deliveries, what opportunities there are in the hospital that they deliver at. Do they allow for supportive natural birth? Do they have what anesthesia options do they have available? Different types of things to make sure that each woman gets the care plan that they want during their childbirth experience.
Yeah, really important stuff. We have a Tri-Health Women's Services number we want to put up so that people can reach out. It's 513-246-2496. And again, Dr. Coppage, you said this all takes place right at the end of this week, does it not?
Correct. Yeah. So the labor and delivery unit at Mercy does close tomorrow at midnight. Our hearts go out to all of those women and their families. This is a very stressful time for them, but we welcome them with open arms to help provide the best care possible if they'd like to choose us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for talking about this kind of complex subject today. We appreciate it. And we will be continuing to share that number today first at 4 and have response from the Mercy team as well. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, still ahead on Local 12 News Live at noon, a murder mystery out west. A family of 5 killed in their own home. And crisis in the classroom. We're committed to helping schools identify problems and find solutions. If there's a concern in your district, please bring it to our Local 12's Chelsea Sick. You can leave a tip at 513-223-3029. Email Local 12 Classroom Tips at Gmail or use Chelsea's Facebook page. Here's something you don't see every day. A man in Orange County, New York, found a complete mastodon jaw in his backyard. The homeowner noticed 2 unusual teeth well in his garden. About 50 have been found, they say, there in that area over the years. Other news now, 5 family members, including 3 children, are found dead in a home. A concerned family member went to the house outside Salt Lake City yesterday after a woman who lived there did not show up for work. The family member then called police, who found the bodies of 2 adults and 3 children. Police are calling it a homicide. A neighbor said that it happened on a quiet street and the family really kept to themselves.
I don't know, it's just total shock. I can't believe this happened. I mean, they've just been quiet over there. I just see them back in and out of their driveway once in a while, and they'll drop the kids off with the school bus, and there's never been any problem ever.
Police say there are no suspects on the loose and there's no threat to the public. The Department of Justice will pay nearly $116 million to settle lawsuits brought on by over 100 women who claim they were sexually assaulted in a prison. At least 103 women sued the California Bureau of Prisons over mistreatment while serving time at a prison that is now shut down, the Federal Correctional Institution. Each woman is set to receive about $1.1 million under the settlement agreement that it was approved just yesterday. In a statement, the Bureau of Prisons said it strongly condemns all sexually abusive behaviors and takes its duty to protect those in custody seriously. Wow, we're looking outside at a gloomy day. Got a little rain there on our tower cam. Meteorologist Eric DeBroca is up next with your full Weather Authority forecast, plus what's happening over the next 7 days. Details ahead on Local 12 News, live at noon.
The last 6 hours, plenty of heavy, steady rainfall. Matter of fact, we did see a little bit of light freezing rain, light sleet in spots, especially areas north, really more so towards Dayton and Columbus area. For us, temperature has been in the upper 30s, so it's been a little too warm for those frozen types of precip. But nonetheless, we keep piling up our numbers. And really over the last 4 days is when we saw most of this moisture here, about 2.5 inches and counting. Of course, we still have some wraparound leftover showers to go, and now above average for the month, around 1/4 inch or so, as our now suddenly soggy December pattern continues. So the gloom and yes, the moisture will continue in the days ahead as we really continue losing several degrees each day. That pattern began on Monday with a high of 58, yesterday in the low 50s, today only in those low to mid 40s, and so on and so forth. And we're going to continue that all the way into Sunday, each day getting progressively colder. So how about that for a pattern? Certainly a pattern in the very true sense of the word. Today we'll call it low to mid 40s, 43 or so in the city. Some light afternoon showers possible, then even maybe we'll see that transition to more some light drizzle later in the day. But cooler seasonal weather comes our way as we will start to see temperatures more in line here with mid to now latter part of December. Deck the yalls for us tonight. Cannot completely rule out a few isolated sprinkles, but again, the heaviest of the rain is done. We'll call it overcast skies there, and temperature is very consistent with this pattern. Upper 30s to around 40 degrees for us as well. Here's what we're looking at, just a whole mess of a storm system, but it does continue racing up towards the east coast and in its wake dragging those much cooler temperatures out ahead of it. So we are going to at least see that clearing pattern take place later on today, and for the most part keep the December gloom even for tomorrow, and we're expecting a dry day, but it's still going to see and feel a lot more like the holidays here. And speaking of the holidays, how about sprinkle in some light snow as we move into Friday morning? I think most of this starts as rain for us, but as temperatures start to get cooler as a clipper system pushes its way through, we are talking about also some lighter snow possible into the evening hours, and that could give us maybe a 1/4, half inch of snow on grassy surfaces up to the north. Not going to be a huge event because still temperatures in those mid 30s, roadways obviously will be just fine. It's once again for the untreated surfaces there. And then Saturday we do start to see some sunshine, but cold. Some of that Arctic air returns, low 30s there. Bengals game for us on Sunday. Well, we're talking very cold as well. 20s really most of the game, so dress accordingly. As far as a white Christmas goes, especially this year, might have to dream about it or at least get some pictures from 2022. That was the last year that we had that. On average, though, we have about a 17% chance to pick up an inch or more. And look at this, the last week of December, pretty impressive stuff. We've been so cold for the entire month. Things rapidly change here the final week of December and going into 2025. There it is, one more cold blast in store for us over the weekend. Sunday by far the coldest day. We're going to warm it up heading into the Christmas holiday. We'll be right back after this.